Gary's banned.
Every time he does that.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, well, episode 155, shortest one in history. So Gary joined us to grace us with his presence, even though he was having a well-deserved holiday. Decided to end the stream instead of removing himself from the stream. So apologies for that. But we're back. Back to me and Ben. Mac's still not joined us. He might not now with the second link. He might get confused about that, but I'm sure we'll be able to get him once he's back home. And
we're just getting loads of comments now. You could see it coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spider quiz thing all over again.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And you knew it. He went, you heard that, oh, fuck, and I thought he's done it again, hadn't he?
Well, to be fair, Ben, you literally were on it. As soon as he'd pressed that, I went, oh, no, you were off to set on the second stream. So you knew it. You could see it coming a mile off. Gary, you're banned from ever doing that again.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's like he just said after it had ended. It's a talking point. It's... And we need him, to be honest, because there's nothing, a great deal going on in the world of Leeds United at the minute. It seems quite quiet to say that we are the Wednesday before the eve of the Premier League season kicking off. Really.
We recorded Tuesday last week so we could watch the Ajax game on Wednesday, which I think would have probably been better off just watching, recorded on the Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, I was working away last week, so I didn't watch it as live. I don't think I've missed much, judging from the highlights that I've seen. And
I don't think there was any Leeds United highlights. It was that kind of game.
No,
it was the kind of game. I was doing the notes before, and I put 3-0, and I went back and checked and realised it was 4-0. That's how much attention I paid in the second half.
Right. So talk us through it then, because like I say, I have seen the highlights. Very disappointed to concede the first goal to a player who looked like he should be playing Masters football. Did not look like an elite footballer at all, that Klaassen guy. Obviously started off with a bit of an error at the back.
It was a really bad heavy touch from Ayling.
Yeah.
And then, we just... to be honest, the first 3 goals, there were kind of bit of sort of luck about them. I think it was the second one... The ball sort of ricochets off their player. He tries to control it, but controlled it. It was like a Becchio control. He sort of played himself into space with the control, and I don't think he meant to, and I don't think anyone else were expecting that. And then he just sort of literally ran through the middle. Right. He had just had so much space from that control. And then the third one, Gravenbachchu, if you sort of follow a bit of European football, and the Football Manager is quite a well-known player for Football Manager players. He scored a screamer, which I think it was just one of those. He took a wild shot and it went in. Yeah.
It seemed like a good strike, that one.
Yeah, and so the 3 goals were 2 mistakes and a wonder strike. But we just didn't. I think at that point everyone started getting a bit worried because we just didn't look like us at all. And I know it's pre-season, that we didn't have Phillips playing and stuff like that, but you want to sort of start seeing something in effect what was a week and a half before, or 2 weeks and a half before we sort of proper kick off.
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
And obviously, kicking off with quite a stern test as well, especially with the way it went at that scum shithole last year. Like you say, it's a little bit concerning, but it is pre-season. You'd rather get those performances out now.
Get their mistakes out of the way and stuff.
100%. So nothing really going forward for Leeds, I take it. I
can really remember, but
I saw the chance that they had, and then it bounced back to Was it Bamford who hit the post on the rebound, second half?
Maybe. Through the
Inside
second
the
half,
post.
I just got fed up and I wasn't even really watching.
Really? It was
It
that.
was one of them.
It was one of them. Fair enough. So, yeah, like you say, scrub that one out, get rid of that. And then, obviously, the Villarreal game. Was that at York?
Yeah,
Was that
York.
Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday 7:00ish, I think it was. Yeah. Which another one? They started really fast, like from kickoff,
10 seconds.
yeah, and I think it just literally caught everyone off guard. They all just sort of kind of sprinted forward, got to the sort of the goal line, and then just played one back. And Robin Koch just didn't know what to do. He didn't have the time to react. It literally just hit him and went in. And I think at that point you're thinking, oh, is it going to be the same as Ajax? But we sort of just started again as an old sort of Sunday League cliche. It's 0-0.
Yeah. Especially when you concede after seconds, you know.
We grew into the game, went 2-1 up, and I thought we looked pretty comfortable, and we looked more like Leeds United. That was the thing, I think, because I went on a family day on Sunday to Filey, and some of my family members like, what were Leeds like? Yes, this is all. They were back to sort of playing how Leeds play. Granted, it was still pre-season, and there were some players out of position and stuff like that. But yeah, back to Leeds United for me.
Yeah.
The Leeds we've definitely seen over the last sort of 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Goals from Click, took his one really well.
Yeah.
Type of, really, really cultured finish. And then Bamford from a set piece. I think it's Cooper's header, really thumping header off the bar, and Bamford reacts well to volley one in as well. So it's good that we've got those players kind of scoring as well. Any kind of takeaways? Any decent performances out of the players? Any outstanding?
I don't know if there was anything sort of outstanding. They were just all a bit more on it, as you'd expect. Sort of obviously with a week to go, kind of thing.
Yeah, and Calvin came on at half time.
Yeah.
Was that his first pre-season game?
I think his first. He played the Ajax. I think called Ajax Jong, the sort of under 23s, 21s Ajax team. Okay. He played in that game. Might have only played half in that. I can't remember. And they look really good, to be honest. Ajax youth team. They wiped the floor with us as well.
They have got a very well revered academy set up, though, haven't they?
And you look at players like
produced it.
Pascal Struijk, who got released from there, and now he's, well, for me, our left choice sort of centre back. I think if there's anyone from pre-season that has stood out, it is Struijk.
Yeah.
As much as we all know what he could do anyway, he seems a lot more composed and playing a lot more decent balls out. Yeah,
it's mad the progression that he's had, really, isn't it? You know, you look from his debut in that Cardiff game, the 3-3, and the mistakes that he made in that. Coming off the bench to, like you say, now he's got a massive shout, like you say, to be starting, to be to be alongside Llorente in there.
Yeah, he's sort of like, I guess we're in a good position with the defenders now that it is either Llorente or Koch. And I think with how Llorente's played, the sort of stats that you get from Llorente, I think Sky Sports ran with something this week of the percentage of wins we have with Llorente. And it's like unbelievably like a big difference. And yeah, Cooper and Struijk. The only thing with that sort of goes against Struijk is Cooper is the club captain.
Yeah.
And, he's been all through with Bielsa. And you know what Bielsa's like for sort of loyalty and that and stuff like that. But yeah, it bodes well for the future as well that Cooper's obviously getting older and we've got Struijk there.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's good with that.
But like you say, he's had a good positive pre-season, which is good. And every time I see him, he just seems to progress in that role, which is really good. So bit of a potential selection headache for Marcelo going into the weekend, which is good. talking about Marcelo, reading anything into that? The fact that he was spotted at the Etihad this week? Was it yesterday?
I don't know, because we have been linked with Angel Herrera. No, is that his name? Something like that. A defensive midfielder. He was is a City sort of player. He's been on loan in Spain for a couple of years, something like that. But yeah, I think it's weird seeing Marcelo go there to if we're trying to attract a player or something like that. It could just be that, I don't know, Pep had something on, or there was some kind of, I don't know, managers meeting or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, potentially.
I think it's hard to sort of think of anything transfers wise.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it unless it was, trying to get something, convince a player or something like that.
Yeah, or convince a really big player in a player that they want rid of, sort of Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Which I just really, I mean, I looked after I saw it, and people were mentioning that name, and I thought, how much is he going to cost? And I just don't see us spending 50, 60 million on someone like that.
No.
It would be a good investment. He's a brilliant player, ages on his side and stuff like that. But I just can't see us doing that. I think there's other places we should be sort of buying before that.
For that sort of money, yeah. And, you look
not even that sort of money, but we need to get a midfielder in first, and then maybe go from there and see sort of what we've got from there. Get them sorted. And maybe more of a left wing. I think Silva's more of a right winger. So whether they're going to move, I mean, that's the thing as well. You've got, and the problem I think we have with getting a winger is we have Harrison and Rafinha, who are the starters for me.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, as much as Harrison does get a bit of a stick, for me, he's one of the first players that Bielsa picks. If he's sort of on song, he does everything that Bielsa wants you to. The other side, you've got Rafinha, he cuts inside and all like that. And how how Pablo played when we were in the Championship off that right hand side. Rafinha does exactly that, but obviously with a bit more flair. He's a bit younger and probably a bit better skilled. If I don't want to say that to.
No, technically he's probably the best player we have.
Yeah.
Like you say, he has got the skills. He can, but he's got a work ethic as well. He's not just a show pony, is he?
If you bring in someone like Bernardo Silva in, that then pushes one of them two out. So we've just spent 12 million or whatever on Harrison. We spent 18, 19 million on Rafinha last year. Where does Bernardo Silva fit?
Yeah.
And I just don't think that happens.
No.
The player that I think we need to get is someone who can push them, but knows for the start they're probably not going to be the starting player.
Yeah.
Which I think with events with Rangers last night, I think Ryan Kent sums that up. He can play either side, and he's maybe not at a level where he's pushing either two straight away, but can come in and make that difference.
He's one that's never ever gone away, is it? I mean, we've been linked with him, ever since Bielsa kind of came in, really, to be honest. So
yeah,
that interest seems to, like you say, the fact that it keeps cropping up, obviously that interest has maintained. And yeah, you're right. It would probably be the more sensible option, really, rather than, like you're saying, dropping mega money on someone who would, the reason he's probably wanting to leave City is that he wants more game time, and he's looking at the likes of the fact that they've gone out and spent mega money on Grealish, and that's going to impact on him. That next move is obviously he needs to play. So if we can't even give him those assertions, then you're probably right. I'm
not so much. I mean, it's not so much giving them assertions. I think if you're buying someone like Bernardo Silva, he has to play for the money we'd have to pay, which sort of isn't a thing we kind of do anyway. But it upsets the apple cart a bit too much.
Yeah.
In sort of the level, and as much as we want to be at that level and step to that level, if you bring in someone like Bernardo Silva, who's going to be, I think someone mentioned, 150 to 160 grand a week. Yeah, Tom Johansson said it. That is probably going to be a lot more than everyone else by maybe some double, some like triple, some quadruple.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Rodrigo, was he like 80? And that we're probably pushing that. And yeah, I think that's maybe going too far ahead. Whereas you can bring someone like Kent, that Noah Lang keeps still being linked, and Cunha from Hertha Berlin.
Yeah.
They're the sort of three names that are hovering around at the moment. Still, I think they're more of the level that don't have to be starters because of the price, and but can come in and make a difference.
Yeah. They're not just there to make up numbers. They're not just going to be squad players, like you say. They need to be on that verge of being able to come in and do a job. But like you say, they're not going to. It's not going to be a big disparity and have somebody sat there with mega money in comparison to the rest of the team. So yeah, you're probably right there. What do we think? Do we think just with the fact that it's been a Euro summer, that's delayed kind of maybe the transfer market? Obviously, we've seen a very different transfer market with what's gone on at kind of the major clubs this year, and the lack of that, obviously, that knock-on effect. Do you think we would have done more business at this point in the year? Do you think we would have wanted to? But obviously, it's we kind of been shackled by the fact that it hasn't really kind of kicked into gear yet. Or do you think we were never gonna, and Harrison, Firpo, and maybe one or two others were always the case? Do you think?
I'm taking a lot from what Angus Kinnear said on the Square Ball podcast, the interview they did with him, and I think it was always the case. We needed a left back because we literally didn't have one, and we got that sorted. Obviously, Harrison coming in, stupid not to, for what he gave last season, sort of numbers-wise, assists and goals, the price was a steal. So them two you get done, and I think everyone's now waiting. The only transfers that have sort of been made are ones that are replacements for big transfers. So, Villa have made some signings, Danny Ings, Buendia, and as much as Villa fans wanted to sort of try and act like it was never going to happen that he was going to go to City, they were always signings that he was going to City.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
To sort of replace that through 3 or 4 players than just the one. So I think it's going to get to a point when the transfer window closes, it will start going crazy because people have to do stuff. And I think right now, people are just waiting for that, waiting to see who comes available. You look at the window last year when we picked off Rafinha with a week to go or whatever, sort of late on. If you can get another deal like that, or that they'll be talking to players that are like, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that. And the thing like with Kent as well, with Rangers now not being in Europe, does that open more of a door for that?
Well, they're still Europa League, aren't they?
I thought it was totally out. I don't know.
I'm sure.
I'm not sure if they're still in.
I don't know. I know obviously the Champions League's gone, but I thought that meant that they fell into the Europa League.
They might do. But anyway, still, a Champions League is probably a big pull for him playing in that. Europa League maybe not as much, but would you rather? I guess it's weighing up the options. If you can, do you play Scottish Premier League and Europa League, or play in the English Premier League?
Yeah.
And for me, I think you probably lean towards the English Premier League on that. And then you've got the other thing as well, because a lot of people are mentioning O'Brien, that there's COVID as well. People are getting having to isolate or getting full positive tests and stuff like that, and having to isolate, which causes problems for maybe everything was sort of agreed with O'Brien, but then he has to have a test, the medical, and do the sort of in-person things. If that's sort of a week to 10 days to 2 weeks, a lot could change in that time. What if someone comes available in that time? The deal's not done until it's signed, sealed, and delivered. If we can then get a player, if someone comes available, if I don't know who, if that's the reason why Bielsa was at Man City, to get a centre mid or something like that, that's come available in the last couple of days because something's changed.
Yeah, sure.
That's then O'Brien out of the picture because anything can happen. You go back to the Dan James transfer, nothing is done until it's literally all done, and you can change from that. There's there's loads, isn't there? We can
look at us at the end of last summer's transfer window. The Cuisance deal, it looked like that was nailed on.
Yeah.
Whatever went on, whether that was medical, whether it was change of heart or whatever, that was over. And within a day, 2 days, Rafinha's through the door.
Yeah.
And looking at Rafinha's first season and then the season that Cuisance then went and subsequently had it at Marseille, you've got to say that we came out of that deal the best. You know what I mean? Yeah. And things at that stage, it was Cuisance looked like the one that we needed. We wanted the strength in the centre, not the wings. When actually, it was the other way around that actually worked out well. So, yeah, who knows? But obviously, the transfer window remains open, despite the fact that the season's going to start. So, I think we've, like you say, it's not been as overwhelming as last season. But I think we all expected that a little bit. I would have thought personally that we would have maybe made a signing or two more than we have by this stage. Just especially the way that obviously Bielsa likes to get players who can work the system and understand it before they become effective tools. I know Rafinha was a bit different. Last season he didn't seem to have...
I don't know whether Bielsa's too bothered about... I think he would rather get the right player now. Like I said about Firpo, we needed the left back. That had to be in, and he had to come in and have the training to do that role. We can get by until the end. If it means we have to get by with either playing Klitsch with Dallas or whoever we're going to play in central mid. I think Bielsa's more than happy to do that if we get the right player at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the sort of feeling I get through it now. Because we've not done that, I think there's something out there that Bielsa wants, but it's just going to have to take time.
It's going to take time, and he doesn't want to, like you say, he's more than happy to wait because he knows that those players he can move around, deputise ably like they've done last season. So
yeah,
you're quite right there. Quite right. So we'll have to watch this space. Moving on, obviously, like you say, it's Wednesday today. We have the season kicking off at the weekend. You've put in on the notes here a link to a kind of a preview of a stats bomb preview. Do you want to talk through that a little bit, Ben?
Yes. It was just a few things that I noticed on this. Let me just refresh my memory on it. So I'd say it has been a busy day. The set piece XG conceded. We were the sort of second bottom on that.
Okay.
But it doesn't have a breakdown of, which sort of falls into the Sky Sports thing of the Llorente. Of the difference sort of we have when we had Llorente and mainly sort of Struijk, wasn't it? Llorente and Struijk sort of to the back end of the season. It'd be interesting to see the difference on that of the set piece XG.
In comparison to the beginning part of the season to how we finished. Yeah,
when we had them defenders.
Yeah, because it did become an irritating trope, didn't it, with the commentators, and they always flash that thing up, and you're thinking. There was one stage towards the end of the season, you're like, I can't remember the last time we actually conceded from a set piece. We didn't seem to get that sorted.
Yeah.
It was just the fact we'd shipped so many goals at the beginning part of the year, all from set pieces. That would be interesting, and obviously it would be good to hopefully carry on that progression and get rid of that trope. from our play.
And there's quite a lot of sort of information on it, a lot of diagrams, stuff like that of sort of what we did last year. Like Patrick, there's a bit on Patrick Bamford on his expected goals, which was pretty much, I think his expected goals were 15.81, and obviously he got 15 out of 105 shots. So on Bamford, do you think that he should sort of be aiming for that again?
Yeah, he's got to. You've got to, like, I mean, I think any striker who's, especially, playing like Bamford does, lone striker, he is, he's your number 9, he's not part of a two, but not many teams have 2 strikers anymore, do they? But, you know what I mean? In a team where we don't really share a huge amount of goals about, I think you would probably be looking and thinking, if I have an absolutely fantastic season, that's 20 goals. That's kind of probably what he should be aiming at. But 15 was a great return, and also let's not kind of sugarcoat the fact that goals isn't just what he does, and he does all that other stuff as absolutely fantastically well as well. But he's got to look at that and think, I've really bare minimum I've got to return the same, because like I say, we don't have another striker up there. He is probably.
But would you not say Rodrigo's that other striker? Unless we bring someone in. I mean, there has been another. I can't remember his name. There was another link for a striker earlier this week, but there's been many. But you look at how Rodrigo finished the season and where he sort of finished playing at the end of the season, and having that backup to Bamford, who does sort of go through spells where he doesn't score. Is that it puts us in a better position going into this season, that if Bamford goes on that spell, we've always got Rodrigo to sort of fall back on?
Yeah, absolutely. Although, realistically, Bamford's going to start as number 9. He is going to start in that forward position. And we've seen now, can you keep Rodrigo out of the team? Is he going to play behind that? So if he does, like you say, if then he's and hoping that they link up well and switch around and do what they do. If Rodrigo goes up and Bamford drops deep, because we know Bamford can drop deep and link up play well and everything like that. You hope that they get that synergy and then they play together. You know what I mean? So then hopefully then what happens if Bamford goes on a bit of a, because you don't want to then kind of drop him for Rodrigo, because then who's going to fill in behind?
I think that's why we're good, because we've got the options that Roberts sort of ended the season quite well, and you got the likes of people saying like Greenwood and stuff like that. I think, and Click for me, I think he's better as a 10. I think there's sort of options there, and then maybe we bring someone else in if there's sort of scope for that towards the end of the season, who comes available and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I think we're very. The sort of attacking intent doesn't worry me, because I think we've got numbers there. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and it goes to show. I mean, I was just flicking through the stats just before we came on air, and you tend to forget. We finished the season, we won 4 on the bounce. Beating the likes of Spurs and things like that towards the end of last season. We're playing some good football, scoring a lot of goals in those games as well. So we just need to carry that on. Yeah. And like I say, those players have, a lot of them didn't go to the Euros or the Copa America or things like that. So a lot of them will have had a decent break, and then they've come back in. And as the writing from Phil Hay, it's great to have him back and everything like that. Talking about pre-season, he said, the matches have very much been a very small part of it. It's mainly been down to the training. They've obviously been beasting them. There's players who didn't think that we could lose more weight seem to have lost a little bit more weight.
Yeah, I think Liam Cooper looks like one of those. Yeah. He looks very, very slim now.
Very thin. So we know we do that well. If we can do that even better, then that's great progress. And we have to, because I think it's the lazy trope of the journalist to say, difficult second season just because of what happened to Sheffield United. But it's, you still do have to worry that people, will people have seen us and go, right, we definitely know what to expect from Leeds. They should have known that from us in the Championship.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? You can, it's very much expecting, you can know what to expect from Leeds United, but can you match it?
Yeah.
And
can you do anything about it?
Yeah, unless you're a top side with top players who can sort of keep the ball off us and play around us because they are that good. And that I'm sort of looking, even though they didn't beat us last year, someone like Man City or Chelsea, and we got good results against them. I still think, you've still got to turn up and match us to like physically just to start with, and then still be better than us.
Yeah.
And I guess thinking about it, sort of back to last year when we went through them runs where, especially like Leicester, Palace, where we got sort of big defeats, where we maybe shouldn't have done. We're more savvy now, and we've obviously, like we discussed, we've got the better defence, sort of more structured defence. We've not got as many players out, sort of thing, as yet. Obviously, it's pre-season, but we're more settled in that, and we sort of got shook by teams scoring quite early, which I don't think we would do that now.
Yeah,
we grew a lot in sort of the back end of that year, so I think in sort of comparing it to someone like Sheffield United, but Sheffield United went out and spent. I mean, I saw a bit of their game the other night, and towards the end of the game, they had Brewster, McBurney, Sanderberg. Oh, there's 60 odd millions worth of players there.
Yeah,
and you're thinking that's what they spent that on.
Yeah,
we spent 60 odd million on Rafinha, Rodrigo, and then one of the defenders, and then the other one were another 12 million. So that's the difference in sort of quality for that for me. I'm not saying it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be. I think every Premier League season is, but I think we should have enough to do what we do because we're that sort of finely tuned.
Yeah, and let's hope that prediction comes true and we carry on with that level of progress. Moving on to some things that are maybe slightly away from the playing side of things. Obviously, we'll go back to previewing the game at the weekend after this. Few things that have happened over the last week in terms of fan engagement. One of them is our kind of latest foray into is it socios.com. We've announced a partnership with this, which is heavily linked with cryptocurrencies. Just looking at this now, it's a free download fan engagement app available on iPhone and Android. Nearly 1.3 million fans around the world are ready to use fan tokens on socios.com, I don't know how to pronounce it, to engage with their favourite football clubs, and now Leeds United fans will be able to join this thriving digital community. What do you know about it, Ben? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
I don't know a lot, and as a person I dabbled in a bit of cryptocurrencies, and I pulled out of cryptocurrencies a couple of months ago, just before it sort of properly dropped, because it's too influenced by single people. So my main thing was I was in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and Elon Musk was tweeting, it'd go down, it'd go back up, he'd tweet again, it'd go down, he's saying Bitcoin's too expensive, it'd go down. And that, for me, I pulled out them because it was too controlled by that sort of one person.
Yeah.
This is probably, I don't know a lot of how this kind of works. I do kind of like the idea of sort of, but it needs to be more regulated. If anyone can then go on and buy one of these, I mean, we all get. I'm sure I heard Angus Kinnear say we will get one as being a member or season ticket holder or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But if you can go on and buy, it's the influence that's the problem. If people can go on and buy and influence the sort of the price, are Leeds fans then gonna be sort of shortchanged in this because nobody wants that? I mean, it's a cryptocurrency, and if you're getting into that, you've got to be prepared to do that. Let's get that clear first. If you're putting money into something like that, there's always the chance you could lose your money.
Yeah.
It's not a sort of, I'm going to put this money in and then in 5 years' time I'm going to be a billionaire. Nothing's like that.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of it, and I like the idea that it could generate money for the club as well. If the sort of the stocks are going up, and if it helps in the transfer market or whatever, if it gets to that level. The bit that then sort of gets a bit awkward is the fan engagement sort of thing, because that's the reason why you would buy it. If that's why you're buying this coin, is to have some kind of engagement, influence or something like that, which is fine for me depending on what it is. Now, there was one guy when Leeds announced it, a guy from Malta who had something to do with this socios, whatever it's called. He was saying about picking the team. If we're going down that route, if anybody's going down that route, unless you're one of the, I think there was a club that was set up where fans did actually pick the team.
Yeah.
If that's the sort of unique thing of a team, and that's what they're doing, all right, fair enough, you can get on with that and see how you get with that. Crack on. But if it's to pick a Leeds United team or an under-23s team, and I don't think Bielsa would go for this at all anyway, that's sort of out of the question. That's never going to happen in football.
No.
Not professional football anyway. If it's, and then there's sort of been other suggestions, like there was one for Juventus that it was picking a kit. Now I think in the Premier League you have to wear your home kit for your home games anyway. So, and then I thought, well, that's probably quite good actually. If you're playing away, so the easiest example, you're playing Spurs away. We can't play in white because Spurs play in white. We've got two other kits. If it was just a vote that you play in away kit 1 or away kit 2, I think that's quite a good engagement type thing.
But then from what my understanding of it, the whole thing is you buy your token and that gives you one vote. So if you're a millionaire Leeds fan and you want to invest in these fan tokens and buy, a shitload of them, then you basically dominate every poll because you have however many thousand votes in comparison to everyone else who's just got the single ones.
Yeah, that's where I don't know enough about it. That obviously can't happen. No matter how many tokens you have at that point, it needs to be just that you get one vote, because obviously then, what's the point?
From my understanding of it,
you're devaluing. You were.
Right, yeah. 1 minute. There's some dickhead in the comments. Apologies for that. We've blocked that person. That'll then, if you could only have one vote for your thing, then, and you've got loads of them, then why would you buy one anyway? Yeah, Mike.
Good evening.
Good of you to join us. It's great to see you.
Good to see you all. Good
looking like you've got a nice fresh trim. Yeah. What do you know about this new
the crypto
fan engagement app
scheme?
Yeah,
I don't like it. I think, isn't that what we had the whole fan organisations for in the first place? Like, I don't see why you need to get more financially complicated with it. I don't trust it personally. I don't know if I'm just an old soul or what, but I can see why football purists and traditionalists don't like it. I don't trust it myself. But again, it's an optional experience. Nobody's got a gun to your head saying you must do it, you must get involved. I'd urge anyone that doesn't know what it is to just steer clear. Yeah. Because obviously, again, if there's not the demand for it and it's not generating revenue, which is obviously its purpose, then it might just fade off on its own thing, Like I say, it's not. I don't intend for it to be a part of my Leeds United experience. and I hope there's a lot more people like with that outlook as well. Just stay clear of it if you don't know what it is, and if you do, let the crypto professionals, trade with each other, and
I was concerned when I saw it, and I saw fan engagement, and I saw the fact that it was obviously, like you say, it's basically monetizing the fans, another way of monetizing fans, another thing, another drain on fans, and the way that football is going. Moscow White from the Square Ball did a really detailed blog about it. He kind of went on there. I don't think we're fully live yet, so he kind of looked through other teams. He bought a coin, I think, in a Roma fan token, and seeing what he could do, and had a skirt around, and that's a good read if you want to learn more about it, because and at that point it looked like the vast majority of the fan engagement you could do, all the polls were and competitions were expired. They were very limited to what there were, things like voting for goal music, voting for the design of team buses and things like that.
Yeah.
And if it's at that superficial level, then it gets it doesn't creep into the club in any further way, then that's okay. But also, I still feel like it could potentially, the way it's been dressed up, it could potentially rip people off. More to do with the younger people, and I'd urge anybody to really, because like I say, the way it's been announced, it looks like these tokens are going to start off at £2. Again, season ticket holders will get one, and members will get one for free. But obviously, it will need to rise, and I think the most expensive one at the minute is nearly €40, which is PSG for one. So maybe even more than that. Yeah. So it's expected to rise. So all of a sudden, if it does take off in a big way, then all of a sudden, kids, teenagers, and stuff like that who just want to get involved, and I don't like that part of it, to be honest. That side of it.
It feels like you sort of with your FIFA and that, like your in-game purchasing and things like that. Like if a kid gets hold of it, a credit card or a debit card or whatever, it's like it's that kind of thing. And if you think that, say, for instance, Leeds United have hired Bielsa, obviously, if you think you're going to have any say in what the team lineup is or what signings we're going to make, you're dreaming.
But ultimately, that is what they are dressed. What their proposal is, that this will be the future of football. Which,
like with kits as well, it's Adidas. Like you're not going to have any say. You're really not. It's but like you said, the superficial level, I see where it could be quite fun. Fan competitions and things like that, more for that, especially when people get a token thrown in and that. But it's just one to watch, really.
Absolutely. And we do have great supporters trust. And if you really who have done fantastic work, not just in getting fans' voices heard to the club, but in a myriad of other ways. And
they got us the Don Revie statue, didn't they?
Well, they've done so much, for food banks and for the involvement with the murals around the city, and and like I say, they should always be your first point of call. They can represent you, us as fans, and everything like that. So let's not kind of get too distracted away from those ones who have been around for years and years and looking out for the benefit of all these fans. So
as an ex sort of board member of the Supporters Trust, and my thing with that was I wanted to be on that board because I guess at the time as well there was sort of Chilino and all this sort of going on, but even more so now, you've still got to put our voice forward as fans, and I know Rajazani and Angus are very keen on listening to the fans, and they have done when they've made mistakes. They'll listen to the fans and change stuff. But if you want to sort of voice your opinion, get to your sort of even your supporters clubs or the trust, and look at what they do and join what they do, because they're there to sort of make fans sort of experiences better. Because at the end of the day, we fund a football club to that's the reason that they're there, because of the fans. Bielsa will say this, and
the important thing is it's a two-way relationship. We get something back for what we put in, don't we?
Yeah.
The moment you start paying in and you're not getting anything back, that's when you worry, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we've always been, I mean, I say always, but Leeds is like the ownership and the board structure and everything, like it is that we are very lucky. There's been some decisions been made lately. I don't know if we've touched on them tonight, but in general, we are very lucky. You know, how close we are to the board as fans.
Well, I guess going on to what, I guess some of the decisions that have been made recently around ticketing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And-
Well, this is the next one that I wanted to mention. So yeah, we segue brilliant onto that. So yeah. Go on, Ben.
I sort of feel for the club a bit, and it's always going to be the hard situation here that there is too many. Well, not too many. There's too much demand for what they can give: away tickets, home tickets,
Yeah.
and that's what the Premier League has brought. And us being and Bielsa, and I mean, I'll go back to a couple of years ago. I'd get ticket as a season ticket holder. My mate wanted some tickets. He'd go with his dad, his sort of father-in-law, and a few of my mates, and I were getting them tickets fine. It was just like as soon as tickets came out, they said, "Oh, you can get them because you're a season ticket holder," and I got them tickets, and then they stopped that, and then obviously it becomes sort of harder for people to get tickets. They have to be members and stuff like that, which is sort of a problem in itself that there is so many members now, and that membership is quite expensive for maybe not a lot of gain. In that, you get a
Certainly not now.
discounts and stuff like that, but it's hard to. We've got 10,000 tickets, and there's 30,000 members.
Yeah.
You can't put 30,000 into 10,000; it just doesn't go.
No.
Yeah.
So that's an issue, and I think it's something the club will look at, and I think they said they'd look at, especially on the podcast with the Square Ball this week. But also, we've got to a point as a club where to accommodate all these fans now, you need to build at least a new West Stand, and probably put another tier on the Cop, and that doesn't happen quickly. Because I guess the worry is we're still, and to go back sort of, you say second season syndrome, we have that second season syndrome and end up going down. And then do we go back to just being 25, if Bielsa leaves and whatever, and we start to struggle, do we go back to getting 24, 26,000, 30,000 in a 38,000 seater stadium?
Yeah.
And
Maybe so,
also that if we make these sort of changes and something goes wrong, because it did sort of 20 years ago,
Yeah.
what happens if you have a 60,000 seater stadium and we have another fall? What happens to all them seats then? I mean, touch wood, hopefully that wouldn't happen now because of the money in the game and the stature that we've sort of brought in the last year without COVID. Or with COVID, and then now coming without COVID into showing what we are as a football club with fans as well, should put us in good stead to sort of, not that you have to have a good football team obviously to stay up, but it puts us in a good stead for the club of this is Leeds United and we're not sort of that club that we were 20 years ago spending silly money and stuff like that to get in that position. And I just think it's a hard place for the club to be in.
Where do you
please
pitch it?
anything? Everyone.
No.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because there is that appetite to remain at Ellen Road, you know, that it's going to get worse before it goes better. Because, like you say, you need to knock the West Stand down.
Yeah.
So then that's probably a season where you don't have that access to the West Stand. So where those
nothing's going to be done this year. They might get some planning done this year. They might start digging in a year's time. So what's that? 2022. It'll take a good year or so to do one stand, and then you've got to move. I think the way the Angus said it, you've got to then move all the people that was in the say the West Stand lower to the West Stand upper, because they will have to rebuild all the lower West Stand, and same with the Cop, because of sort of angles of the sort of seating and stuff like that.
you've got all your West Stand season ticket holders.
Yeah.
They'll need to be, when it's been rebuilt and there's no access to it, you'll have all of them in where, and so there's
I
going to
think
be even.
They do it. So I think like it's very similar to how Liverpool did it when they redid that stand at Anfield. You could still be able to access the sort of the stand. They'll build everything over it, and then knock down the sort of lower tier and rebuild that and put them in the top tier while that's happening. It might be 6 months or whatever, and then they can open up fully. But yeah, we're talking about 4 years until this is probably maybe complete.
Yeah.
And until then, how do you? And it's only going to get if we continue as we are, we're going to get more fans. More people are going to want to watch that.
But there's my first.
How do you sort that?
Well, there's my first sort of criticism of the club letting it go uncapped for the gold memberships, because if they intend for that to be the case, and they intend this process of 4 years or whatever to build a new stand, why would you let memberships go uncapped? Because you're only increasing.
I think there's one simple answer to this, and it's not a nice answer.
It's a quick cash.
It's money.
Yeah,
it's quick cash up front.
It is, and I guess I'm in a different position because I'm a season ticket holder. But that's something I would have, if I were a member, and I guess maybe it's different if you are a member, that your only chance of getting a ticket is to have a membership.
Yeah. Well, the seasons before, it's been, I think we got a day in advance of general sale, or 12 hours or whatever. But it's been handled really poorly, just from a membership perspective. And I'm not.
But if I'm just trying to think of sort of reason, if you then capped it and you have all these fans, is that then fans that you've possibly lost?
Well, I mean, if it was, from being a proper Leeds fan, you'd be like, well, sod off them. If that's all it took to make you, get off the hype train, then
yeah. But you're literally saying to people, you have got no chance to ever come see us.
Yeah.
Because you've got if you're not a member, you've got no chance of getting a ticket. I mean, you have to be a member. And I get it. It's a cynical thing to say, well, uncap it and increase it to, what was it, 60 quid?
65, yeah.
65?
Yeah.
It is cynical when they know, like you say, there's 30,000 members and 10,000 tickets. It's harsh. It is harsh.
Yeah.
But do they try and, I don't know, I mean, do you try and do like a fairness pot? I mean, but how hard is that? You know what I mean?
That's what I was just sort of going from head. Do you weigh it in a way that if someone, that I guess, I don't know how they do it, but someone has so many chances to get a ticket, if they don't, obviously they miss out on what have you, but like if someone gets 3 tickets for 3 games in a row, then it sort of gives someone else more chance.
Yeah.
On the next ones or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about the value of the experience as well. Like, there's elements of it where it's like, I know last season and season before, I've seen people at games, I've sat behind them and in front, who were literally tourists. They wouldn't sing marching on together. They were just neutrals. And so there's that whole, like, the weight of the whole experience. Like, I don't care who goes to a game as long as they represent Leeds United sing and, make it cauldron of noise and all that stuff. I don't care if I get a ticket or not, as long as the person who's going is going to have a good experience and represent the club well. I feel the same about away games. I'm not going to start attacking other fans who get tickets, and I don't think that helps anyone. I've been at shit games. I've been at Gillingham, Swindon Town, League One when West Stand was closed, East Stand Upper was closed. We've all been to shit small games. So yeah, it's just a case of, like, either you enact an algorithm, like you say, Ben, where it calculates how many games you've been to. But again, that will take time.
I mean, is there a way? I mean, this is completely thinking out of my head, but is there a way where you could say, right, we've got this amount of, can you guarantee, say, 2 games a season, I mean, you've got no choice on which ones you get, but you randomly allocated 2 games and say, right, you've committed to the club, you've spent 65 quid on that, right? I can guarantee like there will be 2 games and it will be allocated at random. And if you can't make it, then you say to the club, right, I can't get it, and I'll try and get another ticket for another game, and that goes back in the pot. For me, that would be the way round of doing it. So at least as a member,
you're adding value.
Yeah, at least as a member, you're thinking, right, well, I've paid my money and at least I've got an opportunity, maybe 2 games, 3 games. I don't know how the numbers would work. For me, that's the only way you can do it, else it is, and I've seen a few comments online. Like I say, I'm in a privileged position. I do have a season ticket, so I don't have to join that bun fight, but people have been saying, 60 quid, 65 quid just to, sit in a queue, and they go on sale, at 1 o'clock on a weekday, a lot of people are working and stuff like that, and they feel like they have no chance, absolutely no chance of getting tickets. And it's
can I just say,
for me, it's a cynical thing.
You say privileged position as a season ticket holder, but as a season ticket holder who's been through the last 20 years, you pay for your season ticket in the hope that at some point you get something like this.
No.
A team like this to watch, because there's most years you pay your season ticket and you think, why the fuck am I doing this?
Of course. Well, as members as well, like I need to show my fellow members as well. We need to be grateful to season ticket holders, because without season ticket holders, we probably wouldn't be where we are without the financial backing that season tickets have given us over the years, you know what I mean? So again, I completely empathise with season ticket holders. Like, I get it. I've never had the financial power to get one. Being at uni, you always work weekends anyway, so it's like, you're fucked. But yeah, I'd just like to, reinforce the idea that we shouldn't be turning on each other over this.
No.
The club could have handled it better. They had the time. Yeah. They knew we were staying up. They had the time to look at it and be like, okay, we need to. But they didn't, and that's remiss. But
And the thing is, what they said at the beginning of last season that they would do something similar with the whole idea of, it looked like going to be reduced allocations, and they looked like they were going to do something similar to season tickets for season ticket holders, because at one stage it looked like we were going to get back into grounds, way before that last game. But it would be reduced allocations, and it probably wouldn't be as much as the 22,500 season ticket holders. So it was going to be like a ballot, and it was going to be like, every so get. So why can't they do something similar for members? I don't know, because if you get a game and you can't make it, that's not a problem. You're just going to, give up your guaranteed game. Everyone's going to be pissed off if you get Watford or. And you may get scum. But that's just going to be the nature of it, and it's just going to be randomly allocated.
Yeah, I'm sure it was part of the membership this season that they've actually get guaranteed 1 away game. They've done it for an away selection. So I don't know why they haven't done and you also get 2 for home. It's just utter chaos when you get down to the details of it. It really is just. Everyone for themselves.
But then what's happened is obviously, with the emergence, and I know the club have come out with a statement today, but we've seen tickets now on third party touting sites, and
the club have facilitated it as well. It's really daft. I know it's obviously not on purpose, but the fact that they've let things go uncapped and unregulated, they've totally facilitated touting. Like 100%, and then to come out and go, we will take. It's like it's a solution to a problem that shouldn't exist,
But I sort of to play devil's advocate, that who do the club know who they are, sort of thing. That's the problem with getting into the Premier League and the way the sort of things have been run at Leeds United. You could have people who weren't on a system 20 years ago. When they might have come to games in the Premier League. I know people who stopped going to games when they were when they got relegated from the Premier League that might want to go again now. I don't know. I'm not seeing if they do, but there's them people that have been lost for 20 years. They probably have just been wiped off the system with GDPR, stuff like that. So I guess from the club's point of view, there's all these.
when Bates came in, and can you remember that when we started the season, we couldn't even use a card to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah,
So chances that like,
effectively-
that administration, it's a different
Yeah, a totally new
legal
company, so
entity,
it might
isn't
not
Yeah.
even have that stuff. Yeah. So I guess from the club's
Cash
point of
only.
view, it's a cast your net out, and I guess COVID doesn't help the situation, but try and get as many people in as possible on your database, because that's the key thing here. That's the age we're living in. You going about people selling all your data and stuff like that. The data is there, and you can talk about like cookies and people, specific advertising and stuff like that. As more people you get, the more chance you're going to get a bite, and that's all what sort of marketing and everything is these days. And I think that's the sort of club's thought there, that we have to cast this net, bring all these people in to make more revenue.
Yeah.
So we can challenge, and this is sort of, I guess, from their point of view, can challenge the sort of top sixes and stuff like that, because we can have that pull. As it showed, we've got 30,000 members at 60 odd quid. It's the best part of 2 million.
Yeah.
A best part of 2 million, 3 years ago, is 10% of our turnover or whatever. Maybe 5%, but it's still a sort of a big number that we didn't have a year ago.
Yeah.
And if you're sending that to, if you're a sales guy at Leeds United and you're going to your boss and saying, well, I've brought in all these sales for memberships, it's a nice pat on back and a nice bonus.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's the job they're doing.
Yeah. I think Leeds United is that big. It markets itself and it sells itself.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It does, but you have to have that information, and us getting into the Premier League opens that up so much more.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess that's the same sort of thing with the with the cryptocurrency thing. It opens it, and which a few people have commented on. I didn't put them up, but there's quite a few that saying. I think Liam Kent, who was on before, he said fan tokens are a way to engage, monetize globally. And it's the same thing
globally, though. We've got fans in Australia and America, and you know, it's this whole thing of like we have to tap into the Asian market now, and it's like, what, you know, like what is, you know,
because that is the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. But
it's modern football, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, we do that by performing on the pitch and bringing on the pitch success. You know what I mean? The club markets itself, and the club sells itself. You know, you want a global fan base. Buy Haaland next season. You know, the club, he will market the club globally. Like that is the easiest way to do it. You know, it'll market us more than 65 million will ever buy you. You know, but I don't. You know, again, going back to the whole shirts and gift boxes and things like that it just is ridiculous. It's not a good marketing strategy at all. The club will market itself. It's so easy to overcomplicate football teams in a marketing sense, honestly. But yeah, I get the whole global thing, and it is coming. You can't resist it. I think the best thing we can hope for is just to manage it and regulate it. So, you know, look after your core fans, and the rest will, you know, as long as you don't alienate your local fan base and your core traditional fan base, the rest will look after itself. I genuinely believe that. Yeah. As soon as you get, you know, Beast and if all your locals stop coming and the club loses its fire and its soul, then you have problems. Yeah. Because the one thing that makes us unique is us, you know.
Yeah. And which is what we'll see this year, that we've had them 20 years in the sort of lower leagues where we've kept that sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but kept that sort of realism into football, of what football's about, rather than what the Premier League's become. Just to go back on the ticket touting, I want to sort of give a thing. If anyone's that desperate to use a site where you're going to pay 160 odd pounds for a ticket, don't. It's not healthy for the club, for you, and for other fans, because they're just going to keep doing it. They're going to keep scraping these tickets however they can. because they can make the profit on them. Take one for the team and say, no, I'm not going to spend that money on them. Let the club do their bit to sort this out, and then you could maybe get a better chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't use it. If there's not a market for it, then they disappear.
Yeah. It's very true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, can I ask a question on the back of this whole the financial thing and obviously the club growing? Are we skint then?
No.
No?
No.
No. But it's just
There's been a bit
about
of panic, hasn't there? I've monitored it, like bit of panic. You know, in the Twitter sphere and in
I guess, like I said, we've come into the Premier League and COVID's been an issue, but I think you've got to be looking, again, with a sort of a devil's advocate type thing, you've got to be looking at making as much revenue as you can through whatever you can.
Yeah.
As a football club. Because it's not like any sort of any other business in a way as well. So if you can, I don't know, like a perfect example would be, do we need a little wish sign on Bielsa's bucket? No, probably not, but they pay a bit of money for it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all the same thing, and it's all revenue, and it all adds up. And if you're a better side, like now, we can charge more for that 3 seconds on TV that they're going to get for that.
Yeah. I suppose there's an element as well of like, you don't know when it's going to end. So you need to capitalise on the momentum, and you need to capitalise on Bielsa if he's going in 1 or 2 years. You need to capitalise on everything that we've got, this little bottled lightning, you know. So no, I completely get why, you know, the board have made the decisions that they've made. And again, looping back into the fan thing, this is why we need the fan organisations that we have to be able to hold the board to account when things are, you know, dodgy decisions are made. Socios is not going to do that.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like Ben said, it's about maximising revenue potential, because all the big clubs and all the top teams and all the ones where we're emulating and wanting to get into top 6 and European football and all that brings they're already doing it. We've been out of that equation for so long. So, but like you say, you've got to balance that with losing the soul of the football club.
Yeah.
And that is a very, you know, and they will make, you know, and I'm sure the board will make errors, and I'm sure, you know, they won't do everything. But I've also confident in some of the experiences we've had with this, that they will learn from those, and hopefully they, you know, I think you're right. I think there has been certain things, maybe you know, kind of in the last year that maybe not as good from a fan perspective.
Yeah.
But it's all trial and error, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day.
It's funny. There seems to be like one marketing gaff a year, like clockwork. They're like the Myanmar pre-season, the badge. Well, this was obviously. I mean, Chelino speaks for himself. And even
that were a gaff a week.
Yeah, I mean, even in the Champions League days, I remember I was reading something about the end of season the Players Awards. They got a racist comedian on, and like I think it was Lucas Radaby or Rio Ferdinand, whoever it was. They just got up and walked out. It's just like, why are we like this?
Yeah.
But yeah, God love us. But yeah, it is going to be a bumpy ride, like you say, Rags. It's just, I think I do trust the board. I think they do learn, you know, from these things. And again, we are lucky. Like, I challenge anyone to go to a Premier League club and be like, you won't see the manager shopping in Morrison's. You won't see board members pulling up in cars outside the ground, walking around the ground and shaking hands with fans and stuff like that. As I've seen with Angus and Victor, you know, even Radrazani met him after a game. They're like, we're so lucky. It's just, if there is any way, just to go, give him a little nudge and be like, actually, mate, you know,
yeah.
As a collective, we're not happy with X, Y, Z. But yeah, majority of me trusts them. You know, they're just prone to a bit of a gaff every now and again.
Every now and again, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should we talk some football then?
Let's talk some
Let's
football
do it.
because we are on the eve of the season. We need some. We need to talk about it. I think. Let's have a look because it's going to be the start of this again.
Raggy's predictor.
And it's a big one, lads, because not only are we doing a season predictions, but also we're predicting the first game of the season, which of course is no mean feat. The War of the Roses, that scum lot over the hills.
Mm.
What a game to
in
start with.
Salford. I know.
Ridiculous.
It's mad,
Doing it
isn't
on
it?
purpose. Next season we'll play Man City first game. Then it'll be Chelsea or something. Just play all of them.
Yeah. So yeah, last season we had to go to Anfield for the first game of the season. Now we have to go to Old Trafford instead. So Saturday lunchtime kickoff live on BT. If you're unlucky enough to not have a ticket for the game, and we're going to give our predictions for the game from all of us. Bit of team news in here that Ben's put on from the scum lot. Apparently, Sancho might not be starting because he's only been returning to training on Monday.
Do you think that? Do you think a team like Man United, they buy someone like Sancho, and regardless, I mean,
They put him straight in, don't they?
he goes straight in, especially with. They don't do tactics anyway with Solskjaer because he's like a PE teacher, so they'll just put him straight in.
Throw on the best players.
Yeah.
They paid loads of money for him. They're trying to win the fans back after the Super League thing, which we still remember. They'll chuck him straight in. It's like a golden egg or whatever, just golden goose. Just chuck him straight in. They don't care. It's an exhibition thing, innit? It's like Globetrotters or something. They just chuck him in. Like Cavani as well. He was only ever meant to be like a super sub, but now he's a starter. It's like, yeah.
You think so? Well, Rashford and Telles definitely out. Martial's a doubt.
Varane only started training today, apparently.
Yeah. Henderson has got long COVID. Lingard has also got COVID, apparently. Bailly and Diallo are in the Olympics, so they won't be considered yet. So they've got a few missing.
Plus, I think pre-season as well, like first game of the season, I think we come out the blocks quicker than anyone else, I want to say.
So we're going to come out like Villarreal did against us.
I'm going to base this on two things. I'm going to base it on our 2-2 against Villarreal. I'm going to base it on how we played against Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
With Costa in the squad rather than Rafinha.
And Bristol City. Under Bielsa, we've switched it on first game 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah, it's like the first 3 or 4 games were dynamite, like unquestionably.
I think as well. I mean, I think I probably might fall on my sword here, but traditionally, Man United haven't started very well.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true.
They and a lot of sort of big teams like that. They bring a lot of players in.
Season team, aren't they? They sort of build up, and then just coast.
Yeah. A lot of, like
penalties.
we said with the Sancho, Varane, they've not trained a lot with their new teammates and stuff like that. I know this will get pulled up on if it doesn't go our way, but
you're giving me hope here, lads. You're giving me real hope.
It seems like perfect for us. It seems like the best time to play them because we will be set, and everyone will know what they're doing. They're fit, and it just points that everything's set for us, and not so much for them.
Yeah.
Right then. So put your money where your mouth is, then, Ben. What are you going for score-wise? You've just talked us up.
I was thinking 2-1. But then I want to try and sway to 3, but is that being too ambitious? I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds.
2-1 Leeds. Mike also buoyant with his confidence.
Yeah,
what are you going for?
I'm feeling, well, considering we scored 3 against Liverpool, we should score 3.
We've scored 3 in the last 3 games under Bielsa in the first game of the season.
I think 3, and then I think they'll get 2. 1 will be a penalty, no doubt.
No, they'll definitely get a penalty. I'm still worried. I am worried. I'm worried at Scum at Old Trafford. I'm going 2-2. I think it'll be a high scoring draw. I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy with a draw.
Yeah, no, I would take that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we also asked Gary before. Gary, the stream killer, he also reckons a Desmond, so he's gone 2-2 as well. So they're the game predictions. As it's obviously the eve of the season, we also need our season predictions. So we'll just work through them quite quickly. Premiership winner, Gary reckons that City will retain their title. What say you, Mike?
I'm going to be boring as well and say City. They've just paid 100 million for a bench warmer.
Ben,
Chelsea.
who's going to win the league? You went Chelsea last year as well.
Yeah, because it's probably the same reasons, but now they've got a better manager
and a better striker.
Well, yeah. Well, I think I suppose they didn't really score a lot of goals sort of back end of last season under Tuchel, but it made them super solid defensively.
Yeah.
And if Lukaku adds the goals, they've had another sort of. Granted, a lot of players have been away, but more time to work on what Tuchel does, and the difference in them from Lampard to Tuchel. Well, they won the Champions League.
Yeah.
So for me, I think they're favourites.
Chelsea.
Yeah. And I think they're favourites because of the Champions League, whereas they have that one over City.
Yeah. I'm pissed off
and
about
I just don't think City can deal with them.
City Chelsea.
It's going to be a 2-horse race, isn't it?
It's so dead. Oh, it's crap. Leeds, yeah.
I can't bring myself to say Chelsea will win the league, so City for me as well. Okay, a team. Oh, and Gaz also reckons Man City. Just one team to be relegated.
I thought we've all said the same.
Well, Gaz has gone for Watford.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
And I'm gonna stick my neck out here. I'm gonna say Newcastle United. That's a bold shout.
Nah, they've just signed Joe Willock, and he turned them round.
Yeah, but that was last season.
They won't be like top half, but I reckon 14, 15 for Newcastle.
Yeah. Mike, who is the one that you expected?
This is a dark horse. Norwich.
No sticking your neck out on that one. No. Norwich City. Ben?
And Tim, I can't see. I mean, they've not even bought anyone.
Sold and who they've bought. It's just, shocking.
They're literally coming up, taking the money and going back down.
Yeah. Delia's got a big house.
Yeah,
big old kitchen,
paid for by Premier League money.
Yeah, the dividends, man. The dividends.
Where do you see Leeds finishing? Obviously, can we improve on the 9th that we had last season? Gary reckons we can. Gary reckons 7th, which would be an incredible season. Ben, where do you see us finishing?
I had 7th going around in my head as well, so I think I might stick with that. We'll just miss out on Europe.
Mike?
See, it's not that I'm less enthusiastic. I'll be buzzing with this. I think 10th. I think to ask the squad to do it again and push it even further without 1 or 2 reinforcements, I think is a bit harsh. I think if I'm, I can't get into the mindset of Luke Ayling or Dallas or whatever, but I'd imagine there's a part of them looking around going, I wish we had another Rafinha to bring in or someone just to, help carry the weight a bit. But no, I'll be absolutely buzzing with 10th. Happy with that.
But on that, if we can keep our defence fit all season, because that, like we me and Bragg
they're not fit now, mate.
Well, yeah, true. But if we can keep that for stronger and they're a year stronger and stuff like that, I just think that'll sort of see us through a couple of places.
Oh yeah. I think we will be better. But again, it's that whole thing in it. If you stand still in this league, you're kind of moving backwards. It's like we've replaced Alioski with a better player, which will help. Again, Alioski had a lot of chances. And again, it was only narrow. Like if you take in sort of like the 2 games against Wolves and maybe the 2 games against Brighton, you're talking a swing of 12 points or whatever. It's it's going to be there's going to be some narrow matches. But yeah, no, I'll be happy with 10th. Me.
I think we'll improve. So we finished 9th, so I'm going 8th. Marginal gains, all about those marginal gains. Right, Prem top goal scorer. Gaz reckons Lukaku on his return to Chelsea. What say you, Mike?
Right, if Kane goes to City, it's going to be Kane.
You can't. You have to make the statement today. It's no caveats.
I'm going to say Lukaku at Chelsea. I think, with the service he should get, and I think he's more clinical than Kane as well. So fitter.
Lukaku. Ben.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I'd probably go Lukaku. I just can't see where else.
Think of all the penalties Kane's going to get at City. It's going to be.
Not
is he going there? I was going to say, is he even going there? That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and where is it? What's going to happen at Spurs? And is that going to play into him not being as good this year because he's pretty much said he wanted to go? I think maybe Son might have been for a shout if Kane does go. But yeah, I think I have to go with Lukaku. I was just sort of clicked onto Sky Bet just to have a look to see what the bettings are. I mean, there's Salah, who's doesn't seem to. He had a bad season. Well, not a bad season last year. He scored 22 goals, but Liverpool didn't seem as good. Sterling, then he's at like 4-1. Then you got 16-1 for Sterling. They all just seem quite far out from that.
Yeah,
not as far out as my prediction. Patrick Bamford.
Really?
20-1 on Sky Bet.
Love it.
Stick my neck out. Bamford. So that'll also be my prediction for the next one, which is Leeds' top goal scorer. So I'm going to have to naturally go for Bamford, which Gary has also said. Do you see it being any?
We don't get enough penalties.
Do you see it anything different than Bamford? You two lads.
As our top goal scorer. As our top scorer, yeah, he's going to be. As things look at the moment, he's going to be our number 9 striker. So, yeah.
I think closely followed by Harrison or...
It might be better to do the second top scorer. That might be a harder pick.
Yeah. Because then you've got Harrison, Rodrigo or Rafinha.
No, we're going for this one. So everyone's goes Bradford.
Yeah, it's got to be Paddy on it. It's got to be big PB.
And then the last one. We had this
Second
last
to
season.
last.
Second to last. Number of Leeds goals disallowed by VAR.
Ooh.
How many did we have last season?
It was only 2, actually.
No, it was more than that.
No, it wasn't. Actual goals that were given and then actually chalked off that by VAR.
Ah.
It was Crystal Palace away and Fulham away.
Yeah, Ayling and Paddy.
Yeah, Ayling, yeah. I'm going to go
changes.
1.
Yeah, have they said that they're going to favour the attacker a bit more now?
They're saying that they will potentially scale it back a little bit from what it was last season. I reckon we'll still have a few, though. Gaz has said 4. I'm going 3.
I think I'll go 3 as well. Because obviously just how we play off the shoulder, I think. Yeah.
You're going 3. Oh, and you're quite right, Ben. And the last one is first Premiership manager to be sacked. Slaven Bilic last year.
He was that took a while, didn't it?
It did take a while, yeah.
I'd maybe COVID make a bit of a differences in that.
I'll go with the Watford manager.
Is that Cisco Munoz?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're border a bit sort of managing happy out there.
It's just, they kind of and you look at like the other teams that you think will do poorly. I think they've got a bit more about them to stick with. Like if you look at Norwich, I think they'll stick with.
If they go down, they're sticking with Farker.
Yeah, I think Watford are a bit trigger happy, a bit.
Unless Norwich get to a point where they could stay up, or like maybe like 17th, 16th, and they need to sort of consolidate and they get rid of him
for Sam Allardyce.
Yeah, for something in that sort of thing, I could maybe see that happening. But I still don't see him that. There's a name on this list on Sky Bet. Who's Bruno Lage?
Is he the Wolves? Who's the Wolves manager now?
Is he the new Wolves manager? He is.
Yeah, what a guess.
I'm tempted to go for him because I didn't even know who he was. But I think I might go with Mikel Arteta.
No. It's a shout.
Wow.
Well, he's about to spend 25 million on Ramsdale, and he's a bag of shit, so he deserves to get sacked for that.
Shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
You know what? Because of my shout of Newcastle, I'm tempted for Bruce, but I think literally he could do anything. He could take him down, and Nash is still not getting rid, is he?
A shout for Vieira.
Yeah,
that could go.
You know what? I'm going for that. That could be a bin fire.
Palace are kind of rebuilding, aren't they? Though I think they'll be a bit more generous on him.
Yeah,
I remember Frank de Boer. He didn't last long, did he? I'm going Vieira. That'll be my tip.
It's weird how like Palace fans hate Ian Wright because he went to Arsenal, but they're really happy with an ex-Arsenal legend managing the club.
Yeah.
Weird behaviour that.
So we will see at the end of the season how many of them were disastrously wrong or correct. Which leads us to our last segment of this bumper episode. I can't believe how long we've actually managed to eke this out.
Shithouse of the week.
Shithouse of the week. There's a few to talk about. We've already talked about ticket touts. Don't use them. And if you are scalping for tickets and kind of feeding for profit off our good name, don't do it. The other one, the whole Messi to PSG debacle. You know, there's only small parts of me that are still.
Messi's gone to PSG.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. There's only small parts of me that still is a football purist, but I know another little bit of me died with that news.
Yeah.
The whole
there was a bit on TalkSport. So obviously when I was going out today, I had a bit on there, and it was literally pretty much the only people that Messi could go to was PSG or maybe Man City, but they've just done Grealish.
Yeah.
And it's a bit sad, really, that, I mean, I guess at some point Messi could have always come out and said, no, I want to, if he wanted to have a year at Newell's or whatever while he was still in his prime, or even it was mentioned about coming to Leeds and having a year with Bielsa or whatever, if there was something he wanted to do in his career that was sort of emotional.
Yeah. It's disappointing
in that sort of respect. Yeah. I think it taints everything that it's just money. But then you sort of think... I had a conversation with one about it, that it's... If Messi was to go somewhere and say if he came to Leeds, we'll use Leeds as an example, and Leeds said, right, we can pay you 100 grand a week. And now at PSG is on what? Over 500. Yeah, so, over
He's
a million.
50% pay cut.
Yeah. So he earns all that money, but you've got lawyers and you've got advisors and people who do this. Yeah. They're never going to allow him
No.
to go to anywhere else.
And that's where you get it, because like you say, for that emotional decision, or that kind of for footballing reasons, or just to kind of, that's gone, hasn't it? The best players will never ever do that ever again, because it's not their decision anymore. It's not their decision.
No.
And you can cynically say, oh, he's gone there for the money, but it's not just him. It's like you say, it's all that, the entourage, all those people that, and it will be, his sponsors and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All that pressure, he couldn't ever go, and it's like you say, drop down to a league.
Someone like Adidas and Pepsi and whoever else that he sponsors him and stuff like that, they'd be like, no, you need to be in the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. There's just no. And like you say, and it's not about football anymore, is it? And that's the thing. And
I would say, like, my initial thing was like, of course Messi's not going to go somewhere for a challenge, and he's been at Barca all these years. He's not going to go somewhere where he's battling it out. He's and to be fair, in terms of football, he's done his time. He's done his legwork. We've been spoilt by him at sometimes. But like you say, there is all this backroom stuff that we as fans we don't see it. I remember Fabrizio
And I
Romano,
don't think we appreciate the influence that people have have.
But
people just think, oh, this player wants to go here, or whatever. But I think there's a lot of transfers that are, no, you just need to do this because that's what's happening.
Yeah. Well, Fabrizio Romano was obviously breaking it, and he said Messi wasn't even in Paris while the contracts were being agreed. Like, all the lawyers and the team were all agreeing it in Paris, and he was at home with his family, and then he flew in and signed it. It's like, and did the announcement. It's like, he's not even present for that, because again, he's either got a team that he trusts, or it's just so far out of his hands, But it's just, it did get boring after a while as well.
100%. But there's always there's always that nice kind of, like say, football purism about one club's players as well. You know what I mean? And that obviously that's gone now. I don't. Especially with the way that they've dealt in the last year. I've got no kind of sympathies for the position that Barcelona are in. It's not about them as a club. But again, it was, Messi's arguably the greatest player that's ever played the game. I know there's a big debate about that, but it would have been nice for him to retire and, only have ever played for that one team and all that kind of that comes with that. And now obviously that's gone. Yeah. He's gone to a club with no tradition.
Well, on the the note of Barcelona and Real Madrid being on all this debt and that. It's just a natural part of football, let other Spanish teams now rise up and, your Villarreal, whoever, it's just, if they've overspent and they've eaten themselves, it's just a natural part of the process of football. It should be a rotation. You shouldn't always be at the top. And it's going to hurt for them fans and that, but they've had to let Messi go because the club have financially eaten themselves. They're imploded. So,
absolutely. And then the other one I added in, which is non-Leeds and non-football even related, but did anybody catch the marathon at the Olympics with the French runner Mohad Amdouni, who went to one of the water stations and systematically knocked virtually every bottle off the table before actually grabbing the last one for himself and running off in the aggressive temperatures. I think it was in the 30s that they were running in. He's since come out and denied that he did it on purpose. And said
that's more shithousery. That is even more shithouse.
Exactly. He's like, no. If you look at it, he said they're all very wet to keep them fresh, and I just slipped and I couldn't grab hold. He grabbed that last one absolutely perfectly. That was showed that one. That one did not leave his grasp, but the rest of him with his fat, flat palm just off. But that's an absolute sheer level of shit out.
If I was the person behind him wanting that drink, I'd have just clipped his ankles.
Yeah, you'd feel like that.
I'm surprised that didn't happen.
I mean-
Why? If someone's doing that, it's straight bang. You're gone, mate.
Yeah,
It's,
flat tire or
it's,
something. Yeah. Get 'em over.
it's it was a horrific thing.
I mean, it's pure
to see.
dangerous as well. Like that. Dehydration. If one of them marathon runners just collapses and
You see, he's got the perfect get out clause because there was another table like 20 meters down, like
oh, was there?
20 yards down the road. Yeah, with that on.
But when
yeah.
I mean,
It's just been a dick, isn't it?
it is being a dick. And at that level, like you say, we talked about marginal gains. Those little things. If you've gone in there for your transition to get that water bottle and you've missed it because that guy in front of you has done that, and then you have to go slow yourself down. I mean, they're the little things that are just will kill it. And I know it's like, well, come on, it's 26.2 miles, but at that level with the elite athletes that they are, that thing can be the difference.
Still, and then them heats as well like that.
Yeah. Absolutely,
it's dangerous as well.
It is.
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
It is.
Wow.
So, what are we giving it for then? Are we going for touts? Messi for going to PSG. Morhad Amdouni. Oh, I forgot to mention also the whole LUFC align themselves with the cryptocurrencies. What are we giving Shithouse of the week this week?
We've missed one.
Go on.
Have we?
Gary for killing the stream.
Again.
Yeah.
How did he do that?
The same as last time. So he came on with his
He
phone.
jumped on for like 10 seconds to say hello, it's raining in Wales. And then instead of removing him from the stream, he ended the broadcast.
He has an aptitude for disaster, honestly. Wow. It just follows him round. Disaster just follows him round. Oh, God. I can't
So we've got Gary on there.
I can. I'm giving it to Gaz.
You'll give it to Gaz.
Because he sent me in all kinds of stress that.
Mike, who are you giving it to?
I prioritise Ben's stress over the potential death of marathon runners, so I'm giving it to Gaz.
You're giving it to Gaz, right? Well, I'm outvoted. I'd have given it to the marathon runner, but Gaz, you are the first shithouse of the week of the season. So, yeah. Well done to you. Right, well, that brings us to the end of episode 155. It's been, like I say, been well over an hour and a half, including the first few minutes that will have been lost to the ether now. Thanks you for joining us, Mike.
Oh, pleasure
Eventually.
as always.
And Ben. Good
When
to
you
chat.
going for a haircut, Mike?
Thank you.
He said he was running behind.
Yeah. Shower and get all the bits out. I've got all like the trimmings. When I have a shower, it'll be much shorter.
And hopefully,
I thought you were saving it for a man bun.
Oh,
Didn't we discuss that last week?
We didn't do a poll or anything, so I have no legal obligation.
All right, okay.
I can't do a man bun. It's too much for the staff. I can't do it. I'm sorry to let you all down.
Yeah.
We can get an extra person in. Just recruit somebody for one episode who's got a man bun.
With hair.
Yeah.
With actual hair. Well,
Oh dear.
well, hopefully when we reconvene, we'll have picked up 3 points at the scum shithole, and we'll have started off the season with aplomb.
Yeah.
But all that remains to be said is Al Sidi.
See that?
Really?